Pokemon card prices and booster box prices are cheaper than ever. Is the Pokemon card market finally healing? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. You're watching the channel Dr. Applesauce 2. My name's Will. It's another beautiful day here in Texas. I hope you guys know that I love you, God loves you, and that there is an awesome plan for your life. That's right. We have a lot of booster boxes and a lot of Pokemon card product is becoming more and more affordable. And I've been seeing a lot of speculation and discussion online, and I know you guys want to hear about this, and I want to talk about this. Is the Pokemon card market finally healing? It's no secret that in 2020, 2021, with the pandemic boom and the Logan Paul effect, the Pokemon card hobby saw a massive surge. Prices on pretty much everything soared to points that didn't make any real sense. And then we had a little bit of a correction. And then kind of at the beginning of this year, we saw some insane price surges again in the Japanese Pokemon card market. And a lot of people were really upset about this because none of it made any sense. And what we're seeing with English Pokemon cards is, specifically with the last two sets, not including Pokemon 151, a massive abundance of product. And I have another video that I'm probably going to make tomorrow talking about that and talking about how you should keep your eyes peeled on temporal forces. There might be some stuff happening with temporal forces as far as amounts produced that you guys are going to want to know, so stay tuned for tomorrow's video. But what we're seeing with English is an abundance of product, right? Specifically with those previous sets, and then even with Pokemon 151 in English, a massive abundance of product as well, save for the booster bundles. The booster bundles were underprinted, but it doesn't matter when you can get all the other product and you can get packs all day, every day for MSRP on Pokemon 151, which is essentially the case. So we're seeing a correction in the English market that is making things more affordable, sometimes even too affordable. And now we're seeing a correction in the Japanese Pokemon card market. And there's a little bit of new information coming in from Japanese distributors. And I think Japanese Pokemon cards have taken a massive spike in popularity because for the longest time it was pretty readily available and affordable to get Japanese Pokemon cards, and it's almost like getting a preview of the English sets because Japanese sets come out a little bit earlier. And what happened was at the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, with the inception of the Scarlet and Violet era, we saw just the most crazy and ridiculous spike in prices in Japanese Pokemon cards. And those have started to get back to where they should be normally. And then there's also some new information coming out about Japanese distribution that I think is specifically made and catered to combat the biggest reason why we saw a massive spike in Japanese prices, and that would be the streamer culture. And yes, I am a streamer. I stream every Wednesday night and every Friday afternoon on Drip. But a big difference is I will pass up on sets if I think the prices are too ridiculous. I'm not trying to buy things early at ridiculous prices to overcharge you guys. If I think the prices are dumb, I'll just pass. And some of these sets that we're about to look at, I absolutely passed on and didn't even offer them to sell for streaming. And that's one of the problems, is we had streamer culture where people were more than willing to grease somebody's palms with a little bit of extra money to get something, a week early, 4 or 5 days early, and charge 3 or 4 times more than what they should have. So we're going to take a look at some prices on a bunch of these Japanese products that are a lot more reasonable now, and this information coming from Japanese distribution. And I'm also curious to see what's going to happen with Paldean Fates. I think Paldean Fates is going to be a hit in English, and I think it's going to be, pretty decently available, and there's going to be some fun cards and some fun shiny pools, and the fact that all of the baby shinies in Paldean Fates have a hollow border on them, which we have never had English baby shinies from Shining Fates or Hidden Fates or any of the sets that had baby shinies in them. We've never had a set with hollow border English baby shinies, and that could be something very, very interesting. And I will also have a bunch of Paldean Fates available for sale exclusively to my patrons. So if you want to be able to have access to Paldean Fates from a source that you can trust, and a source that's going to charge you very fair prices that are going to be well below MSRP on the English releases, be a part of my Patreon. There is a link down in the description below. It's $5 a month, gets you access to every drop that I have. All that drop information is communicated in the patron Discord and on Patreon itself. And I'll also do drops for Japanese product and stuff like that. And once a month, we'll do exclusive drops for really, really cheap to, be able to give some good deals to my patrons. So If you want to be a part of that and support the channel, become a part of the Patreon. We are going to have lots of Paldean Fates product available for great prices. I'm thinking probably, you know, up to as much as like 20 to 25% off of what retail would be on stuff. So that should be a lot of fun. Link in the description below if you want to be a part of Patreon. But let's look at some of these prices on boxes. And I want to take you through a journey of 2023 and the Scarlet and Violet era. So first, let's take a look at the most recent set, and that would be the Shiny Treasures EX set. Now, we can see right now, it hasn't been out that long. It's only been out for a couple weeks. And prices haven't fluctuated too much on Shiny Treasures EX. They started out around $100, and now you can see a little bit of price disparity in this specific screenshot right here. But boxes are selling on average, I'd say around $75 a box right now, which isn't bad. That's not even double of what MSRP would be. Okay, double of MSRP would be about $80, $85 a box. I think $75 a box for a high-class set is more than fair. So we're seeing a pretty decent correction on this right here, just specifically on this set. But the next thing I want to look at is, let's kind of go backwards a little bit. The set before this, we had Ancient Roar and Future Flash. We were already seeing a little bit of price correction and more reasonable prices on Ancient Roar and Future Flash when they came out. And as of right now, you can see some different sold listings from, you know, across a few weeks time frame right here. But you're seeing about $65 a box on Ancient Roar and Future Flash, which is, in my opinion, incredibly fair when Japanese MSRP is going to cost us around $40 to $45. Small markup for importation and stuff like that. Very fair, very reasonable, and sets that have really cool cards. You've got the Roaring Moon, which is incredibly cool and playable, the Iron Valiant, which is incredibly cool and playable. Let's look at this. Go down memory lane a little bit more. Before that, we had Raging Surf. Raging Surf was when things started to have a shift right around Raging Surf and Ruler of the Black Flame. I remember Raging Surf, people trying to sell it for super expensive, but it almost became really affordable right out of the gate. We're seeing $54, $70, about $65 2 days ago. Again, about the same pricing as Ancient Roar and Future Flash, around $65 a box, which is where it should be for those of us that are not Japanese, not buying straight from Japan. Paying around $65 for a standard set Japanese booster box is a really fair price. That's about $2 to $3 a pack. That's what you should expect to pay if you're doing live streams. It's about $3 a pack, and doing, you know, if you're trying to participate in Rip and Ships. Very fair, very reasonable on Raging Surf. And then this is where we started seeing the big shift with Ruler of the Black Flame. I remember when Ruler of the Black Flame started being talked about, people were trying to sell pre-orders for like $150, and people did not go for it. And you can see here again, about $65. We're seeing pretty similar prices for some of the most recent sets that corrected to around the same price, because this is what we should be paying for Japanese booster boxes. We should be paying around $65 for a Japanese standard set booster box. And then we're going to fast forward, rewind a little bit more. We're getting into the sets that I refused to participate in. I refused to buy, and I refused to buy maybe more than one or two just to open for myself, but I did not carry these sets, and I did not offer these sets for sale to anybody in any of my live streams. And now we're into Triplet Beat. Triplet Beat came out. It was around, people were selling for about $130, $150 a box. And now we have massive price correction. Look, you see $69 and $56 plus $10 shipping. So about $65. Again, $65, $70 is where a standard set Japanese box should be. Not $130, not $150. People were paying $130, $150 all day long for these booster boxes because the hype and the FOMO and what people were willing to pay when it first came out. Little bit further back, this was a crazy one. Clayburst and Snow Hazard. I'm not showing you Snow Hazard. We're just looking at Clayburst, because Clayburst, people were paying over $200 a box just for a chance to pull that dang Iono. And now this is probably the most expensive on the list, but we're seeing about $90, $96, which is still relatively expensive. But much more affordable than $230 a box, as I think it was, way less than 50%. So by margin, by the decrease in price, it is a really good decrease in price. Still, I wouldn't pay $90 a booster box if we're just looking at how much things have decreased, how much things have corrected, and there is a really valuable and popular card out of Clayburst, so that makes a little bit more sense. If Clayburst would have been $90 out of the gate instead of $230 out of the gate, I could understand that. This makes a little more sense, but this is just, showing all of the different corrections that we're seeing in these boxes, in these sets. These sets are, these have had a chance to show us what market value should be, and the market has dictated what the value is. The only real outlier to all of this, and it kind of makes sense why this is an outlier, and my predictions on this were wrong, sadly, is the Japanese Pokemon 151 set. We have values of around $200 a box. Pokemon promised print to order. Pokemon promised as many print to orders as they needed to do, and they didn't do any extra print to orders besides the first one or two that they promised us. Now, here's the interesting thing. I have no way of really knowing production numbers for 151 versus other stuff, but it does seem like 151 is incredibly abundant and incredibly available. It just has the Kanto Pokemon 151 nostalgia hype going for it, and that makes a lot of sense. It's everybody's original, the original 151 Pokemon. A lot of people grew up with them, so there's massive nostalgia hype there. And the good thing is the English equivalent of this set is readily available for very affordable prices, so you don't have to go with the Japanese version. But the outlier to all of this is that the Japanese boxes are about $200, which is insane when MSRP on them, $40, $50, and these are 20-pack boxes. So it's right between a high-class set that has 10 packs and a standard set that has 30 packs. So this is the outlier, and that's going to happen. So we have a full year's worth of releases, basically, and that being the one outlier of the full year that's really valuable, and that's how it should be. You should have a lot of stuff that's readily available, and then one that turns out to be super rare. And then let's look at the newest set that's about to come out at the end of the month, right when Paldean Fates comes out, ironically, and that's going to be Wild Force and Cyber Judge. Pre-orders already up, about $65 a box on pre-orders, where it should be. This is good news for the Japanese hobby, and specifically for Japanese Pokemon card collectors. And I think a big reason of this was because streamer culture allowed people, and again, I said I am a streamer myself. I do stream twice a week, but I refuse to participate in sets that the prices are insane. I refuse to do that and have to charge people ridiculous amounts of money in order to break even or make a profit of, 10% or something like that. I refuse to do that, which is why some of those sets like Triplet Beat and Snow Hazard, I refuse to participate in those. But I believe the large part reason why Japanese Pokemon cards rocketed is because there was a huge demand for them because of streamer culture, because people that could go live and rip through 50 cases in a weekend and pay a little bit extra to get it a little bit early. But we got some information that's gonna show how that's kind of about to change. This is a text message from an anonymous source. I will not disclose this source, but it comes from a supplier of Japanese Pokemon cards. So let's go through and let's read this, okay? It says, good news and bad news. The bad news, this is talking about Japanese Pokemon cards. The Pokemon Company has notified my supplier, so he's talking about his supplier is somebody in Japan that supplies them with Pokemon cards, that the nationwide shipping from primary distributors, from a primary distributor to a primary wholesaler, being a wholesaler somebody that ships to stores or sells to other people that sell to the end user, that these distributions and wholesalers shipping date will start on the 22nd. That means it will arrive at the suppliers on the 23rd. And so remember, the release date of this new set, Wild Force and Cyber Judge, is the 26th. Therefore, the fastest time something could ship out would be on the 24th to overseas. This is a rule from the Pokemon Company, so all conditions are the same in Japan. Also, the Japanese community I belong to allowed pre-orders to be shipped up to the day before release date. On the other hand, shipping 2 or 3 days before is now prohibited. So basically what's happening is Japanese distributors, just make it really dumb and simple. Japanese Pokemon Company distribution has made it to where things do not ship from primary distribution to wholesalers until 2 or 3 days before the set releases. Used to be people would have this stuff a week early, maybe a little bit more, right? And now it specifically says right here, the Pokemon Company has notified my supplier that nationwide shipping from primary distributors to wholesalers will start on the 22nd. So the shipping will not start to the wholesaler until 4 days before the set releases. That means that you're all reality, you're not really, as somebody in America, it's going to be impossible to get our hands on it until release date. This is going to really, 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 cut down on people being able to buy cases and cases and cases, get it early, and make a huge profit. This ties in with how prices of Japanese boxes are going down to a much more reasonable place, and I think that is a really, really good thing. And it will allow me to be able to buy product at reasonable prices and have Japanese drops to my patrons, like I mentioned earlier in the video, and have English drops to my patrons, like I mentioned earlier in the video. This is good news and exciting news for people that want to collect Pokemon cards, even people that want to collect cards to get value. If you can buy booster boxes for cheaper, the more you can open and potentially have cool stuff and pull cool stuff and have good hits. So the Japanese Pokemon card market seems like it's healing. Pokemon in general seems like it's healing. And stay tuned for tomorrow's video. We're going to talk about something that's going to be happening with the brand new set Temporal Forces that could really affect how much of everything is made. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up. It's free for you to do that, and it really does help a whole lot. And if you enjoyed the content, subscribe, hit that notification bell so YouTube tells you about new videos. And if you really liked this one, you'll probably like that one a lot too. And like I always say, my friends, find somebody to love and serve today. Be the change you want to see in the world. See you next time.